Mic check. Test audio. Mic check, mic check. Can you guys hear me now? I don't know why it does that. It seems like every 2 weeks or something it resets my settings. That's so weird. Okay, let me see. Mic check. Give me 1 second. And got it fixed. Filters. Edit filters. Yay, you can hear me? Okay, cool. I don't know why. That's why I always ask if you guys can hear me. Yeah, if it's low, I'll fix it here in just a second. Okay, mic check, mic check. Let me know how that is. Let me know if that's too loud. Mic check, mic check. I don't know why. It just resets every so often. It's weird. I might have to go with a new OBS program. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, that's why I always ask if you guys can hear me, because the time I don't is when I start rambling on and then realize you guys are in the chat going no sound. So can you hear me good? Thumbs up. One in the chat before I start rambling. Never fails. All right. I'm human. All right, before we get started with Riley Strand, because of course we've been covering his case. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover true crime, mystery to the missing. We always like to get back by featuring missing people. I do take requests. You can email me if you have a friend or a family member that recently went missing or has been missing for years. You can email me and I'd be more than happy to feature them. Excuse me. Today someone requested this. This is Gretchen Fleming. She went missing 2 years ago, December 4th, 2022, at My Way Lounge and Restaurant in Parkersburg, West Virginia. She was reported missing to the police department on December 12th. Wow, that was like 8 days later. Just 28 years old, 100 pounds, 5 to 5'2". Looks like she's got dark eyes, possibly brown hair from this photo here. And let me just see if there's any details about this, and then we'll get on to Riley as everybody comes in. Let me see if there's any other details. So, families offering a reward up to $15,000 for any information on her disappearance. Let's see. Anything else that we can learn about her disappearance? Brown hair, brown eyes. There's a couple other photos with her. Let me read the notes. So there's 2 rewards. One is being offered for leading to the arrest or conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance, and or no no physical harm to her, anyone involved in or assisting anyone. Okay, so there's 2 different rewards, both $7,500. Those kind of interesting. They believe it's possible that maybe more than one individual could be involved in her disappearance. Honestly, I don't know much about this case, but if anybody's in West Virginia, please be on the lookout for Gretchen Fleming out of Parkersburg? Right? Yeah. All right. Welcome, everybody, as you're coming in. If you can, hit that like button. And then real quick, we'll get on to Riley. One more thing. Something we've been doing a lot lately, as most of you guys know, we've been searching for Aiden Clune, missing 2 years ago, April 27th. If you want to learn more, I have tons of videos, live streams on him. We've been going out searching for him a lot recently. And we are going to be going out tomorrow. This will probably be the last time we go out, at least for this month, because I'm kind of mentally and physically drained. And it's getting a lot hotter as you go out in the desert. But we feel like we are close, and we're covering a lot of ground. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to all the support from everybody for supporting our trip going out and searching for the missing. So with that said, let me get Riley Strand.
In true crime, Riley.
Okay, so anybody who's unfamiliar with this case, I'm sure most of you are. I will just play the highlights of his case, a recap. But I made a video because, of course, we've been covering this case extensively, been invested in it, and we've been waiting for basically a second autopsy and a toxicology report. And there was a report that came out. It came out from Cork TV and a few other sources, and there's other people saying that these reports that have come out are premature, and a certain investigator or PI claims that these reports are absolutely false. So it's kind of interesting. So we'll play what they released and his recap real quick, and then we'll play kind of what's been going on behind the scenes.
Lee Strain's final autopsy report is set to be released any day now, but we do have his toxicology results. The University of Missouri student vanished after a night out with friends in Nashville back in March, and there's been a lot of speculation about what exactly happened to him that night. But
welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we cover true crime, mystery to the missing. Riley Strain, a 22-year-old college student who sadly stumbled out of a bar, wandered the opposite direction from his hotel, and somehow ended up in the Cumberland River. His body would be discovered 2 weeks later, a few miles downriver.
But a lot of people across the country who've been following this story are waiting to know, is this Riley? Will his parents now have peace or closure? In Lamb, we're just now learning that the body found in the Cumberland River is confirmed to be Riley Strain, the missing University of Missouri college student.
That's right, Alexander. We're just getting a look at the tweet from Metro Police.
But how did he end up in the river is the real mystery. Was it a form of foul play, or was it a tragic accident? During the 2 weeks he went missing, family and friends close to him spoke about how they thought there were many signs that something was off. From Riley mentioning his drink tasting funny, to Riley's strange behavior as he stumbled around outside, to the medical examiner claiming this was an accidental drowning, yet Riley Strain had no water in his lungs. The original autopsy claiming no signs of trauma, yet his pants and boots were missing, allegedly taken by the current of the river. Many, including the family, felt like perhaps the toxicology and a second autopsy could provide more answers. After a few months, the toxicology has come back, and this was the results. Okay, so just if you're coming in, this, according to now the family and a close PI working with the family, I believe, claims that these reports are not true. And I did thought that was kind of odd because, you know, usually when a report comes out, there's some kind of paperwork, receipt to go along with it. And I couldn't find anything. So that was kind of interesting. And then there was, fortunately, I've been kind of busy with other things, so I haven't been able to keep attention on 100%, but clearly there's some things going on behind the scenes that we'll talk about. But here's what they reported on June 10th, I believe it was.
Investigation. News Channel 5 has learned toxicology is now back to go along with the completed autopsy, and all indications are what happened was an accidental death, a drowning. No evidence of trauma or that Strain had been drugged, and no sign he was victim of a crime.
This was a horrible tragedy, but that there is no criminal wrongdoing.
Our understanding is the medical examiner did just receive some new information and is finalizing the official autopsy report, expected to be public very soon. No surprises are expected, though the case can always be reopened if there are any signs of foul play that emerge.
There's nothing to stop the district attorney.
So what exactly was his levels of alcohol if he wasn't drugged? Yeah, and that's why I was like, man, I can't find any report. Usually, like I said, there's some kind of receipt, you know, when stuff comes out like this, just like with Madeline Soto, you know, new discovery gets released out, but nothing Why did released publicly yet.
They mention it tastes like barbecue when referring to his drink. Riley seemed quite impaired, and even though there are cameras everywhere, the one place that Riley Strain apparently went into the river was the one area that didn't have surveillance cameras nearby. And there's mention of the original autopsy claiming no signs of trauma, yet the story is he fell over a small wooden fence down a 30 to 50 foot drop, likely hitting a rocky earth below, and ended up in the river. His credit card was found just below this drop.
Yeah, even if the water was at 6 feet. Or 6 more feet, or whatever that guy's tent is. Because he's talking about how cold. What? You found his credit card? We found his credit card. We gotta hang up. We gotta hang up the phone. Oh my God.
That was such a wild moment when they found that. I mean, how lucky is that for them to go in there? Because, you know, there is homeless encampments nearby, and nothing against the homeless, but, you know, who's to say that they might just pick something up, maybe just thought it was trash and throw that away, and then we would never know that that credit card was there. And with that credit card, it just adds more to the mystery, because to me, if he did go over there, he had to have flipped over this, you know, little wooden fence railing here, which I could see in one setting, you know, if he was intoxicated and there was no foul play. But you would think there would be some kind of trauma to his body. I mean, I could still see him ending up in the river because it's supposed to be 4 feet higher when that night of that evening that he stumbled out onto this street. But still, even if you landed partly in water, you're going to hit the ground, and it's very rocky down there. I would think, you know, a 30-foot drop is going to do some damage.
Which some...
Let me get to the chat here. Emo Jim, good to see you, buddy. Hey, Chris, thank you for all you're doing for the missing. I don't believe the reports at all. This is very fishy. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that. If you haven't heard, we'll just recap. We're getting close to the end here, and then we'll kind of talk about what's been going on behind the scenes. And it's possible there could be something fishy going on.
Believe fell out of his pocket when he flipped over, yet no signs of trauma to his body. One witness came forward claiming they saw Riley fall into a bush nearby and said that they saw somebody else with him that was allegedly helping him. But is it possible that they had foul intentions, mugged Riley, and then pushed him into the river after attacking him?
Man who lives along the riverbank, right where Riley was last spotted on camera per police, near the James Robertson Parkway Bridge.
We heard a commotion. We looked back up. He almost fell over. The last bush right there caught him. He was very, very, very intoxicated, I guess. I mean, he was stumbling harder I've never seen anybody stumble that hard before.
The man telling me he didn't check on Riley since someone else was already there.
I yelled up. They said, no, he's just drunk. He's okay.
The man, who asked not to be identified, says he reported the entire encounter to detectives. He says...
To add further to this mystery, the witness who came forward that claimed to be one of the last people to see Riley has now recanted their story and claimed they didn't see anything. We may never know the full truth of what exactly happened to Riley, but his family felt like something wasn't right and asked for a second autopsy to be completed. That second autopsy is supposed to be released any day now, according to recent reports. We will do another video on that when it gets released. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Please smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.
All right, so let me pause it here before we get into the stuff that's been going on behind the scenes. Don, good to see you. I always thought how strange for cowboy boots and jeans. When jeans stick to you when you're wet. No kidding. Yeah, came off. But a light cotton, down shirt stayed on him. Strange. Yeah, it is. I don't know what's stranger. The boots. Well, according to the toxicology, forensic expert, I'm trying to think of his name, Scott Morgan, who's usually on Nancy Grace. I do like him. He's got some amazing insight, but I think he said the boots are something like boots or shoes are kind of normal, but he said the pants, especially if Riley had a belt, which they said he did, is really fishy. So that is kind of odd. And then let's not get into, we'll talk about it later, but the witness who recanted their story, I thought that was really strange because where he claims he last saw Riley is the location that Riley was last seen. Now, maybe he just watched where everybody was kind of going. But I do find that kind of odd that he would recant his story, even though his story lines up of where Riley was last seen. So maybe there is some kind of truth in what happened. But anyway, so here is what's been going on behind the scenes. So Court TV released that info June 10th. And like I said, I think that was Monday, and I had mentioned something. I think we did when we were covering Aiden. I had mentioned, they had just released the report on that, and then I was going to try to find the actual report and see, does it talk about the alcohol levels? Was there anything else? And so Steve Fisher from SF Investigates, he's a private PI, or he's a PI, and he apparently is working with the family. And Jennifer Coffindaffer, love her, hate her. I know people are kind of on the fence with her. She claimed that that came out along with Court TV was correct. But then Steve comes out and says that, no, you were wrong. And so here is that story that went behind the scenes. And this is a YouTuber, so shout out to this guy here. This is Tastes Like Country. I'm sure some of you, if you follow Riley Strand case, you probably have heard of him. He's covered a lot on Riley. I do really like his style. And so here's just a short clip of him talking about it. But here's SF Steve Fisher here. And here's him actually screenshotting what appears to be the actual toxicology report. You can see it say Riley Strain. If I can, I'll get a screenshot so you can see it better. But it seems like he has the legit report. And he basically is claiming that what they're reporting is wrong.
Report that there were no drugs in his system and no reason to suspect foul play is not what's in the actual report. All this investigation and the reporting on it has taken a wild and ugly turn, and all I can say is believe nothing until you see the receipts with your own eyeballs. That's kind of been our mantra ever since Riley went missing in downtown Nashville on March 8th. Pump the brakes before buying into any conspiracy theory, law enforcement theory, or even the family's theories. The autopsy and toxicology reports will tell all, and many thought they did last week. I'm going to go sort of chronologically here and introduce all of the key players. Tap subscribe if you appreciate our patient approach to reporting on this story. And please continue to keep Riley's parents and family in mind this spring and summer. No matter the cause of death, the pain is not going to go away. On June 6th, Nashville News Channel 5 reporter Nick Barris reported Riley Strain's cause of death was accidental drowning, and there was no sign he was the victim of a crime. The nut of the article is this section, quote, News Channel 5 has learned toxicology is now back, and to go with the completed autopsy, all indications are what happened was an accidental death and drowning. The problem is, there's no source for any of this information. The only person actually quoted in the article is another News Channel 5 reporter, a legal analyst named Nick Leonardo. That's a big problem for this guy. Steve Fisher, who identifies as a missing persons private investigator and says he's been retained by the family of Riley Strain to investigate. The two.
So, yeah, that's kind of wild, and it's going to get even deeper here. And some of the statements that Steve Fisher has put out, I think some of them he's recanted or deleted. I don't know as to why, maybe the timing of it, not sure. Emo Jim, excuse me. Thank you so much, buddy. If his jeans came off from the water, his boxers would come off with the jeans at the same time. Yeah, you would think the jeans would. Yeah, you would think, especially wet on the body, and then if they didn't come off like right away, his body then sadly, as you start to decompose, you bloat. So they would have to, if they did come off, they would have to come off early, or did they come off before he even went in? Was he mugged? I mean, all just theories and speculation, of course. But yeah, especially with the belt on, really strange.
Important parts of his response are: 1, I can tell you that neither I nor the family has heard anything from the medical examiner's office. we are waiting just like anyone else. And 2, Nick Barris may very well have a source inside the medical examiner's office, and I am not disputing his reporting. However, neither I nor the family has a source, and we have not seen anything official or heard from anyone at the medical examiner's office. Fisher kind of laid low in the days that followed that tweet. In the meantime, another private investigator named Jennifer Coffindaffer came in with this tweet. It says the full autopsy has been released, and there were no drugs in Riley's system. That's when the path through these woods split.
And not only that, but read the whole thing. This is also in the news. This is very interesting. I think even Dee pointed this out before I even mentioned it. There were no drugs in the system and no signs of trauma. Now, I could understand the drugs in the system because they're allegedly they have seen the toxicology report, but no signs of trauma. Apparently, even though the second autopsy is apparently complete, just hasn't been released, or it's just getting finalized, something like that. Yet they put that in the statement as well. And not only Coffindaffer, but same with, I believe, Court TV, which you think if it's just related to the toxicology report, that seems, how do you get no signs of trauma from that?
That's when the path through these woods split wide open. Fisher and Coffindaffer don't seem to like one another, to put it mildly. 7 hours after her tweet, Fisher wrote that he talked to the medical examiner and nothing has been released. Quote, the tweet from Coffindaffer is completely wrong. At about 10 p.m. on Monday night, it got personal when Fisher wrote that, quote, Coffindaffer is literally the joke amongst law enforcement. He also called her a tabloid commentator and so on. In that tweet, he included a screenshot of an email exchange from Monday that finds Detective Anthony Chandler saying he'd not yet seen the full autopsy. Quote, I know that some that typically do this are putting out what they think and then claim they have a source. That quote does seem to conflict with Coffindaffer, who says that law enforcement, or LE, have seen the autopsy and released a statement. A few hours later, Fisher tweeted out a redacted screenshot of what looks like toxicology results for...
And that looks legit. I doubt he's just going to post that, especially if he's connected with the family. I doubt, he's just going to do this for some kind of clout or anything. That looks like a legit toxicology report. We can see Riley Strain. If I can take a screenshot. So you guys can see that a little bit better. Give me 1 second here. And there it is. So, let me make that wider. So, Access Forensic Toxicology Testing Report, subject's name, Riley R. Strain. Lab case number, client account, report to, agency case, it's all redacted. But yeah, that looks pretty legit. I doubt, since especially if he's working with a family, I doubt he would post something that was made up. So that tells me he most likely has the actual toxicology, and he's claiming that what is being released is false. So that is interesting.
Riley Strain saying what Coffindaffer is saying about the results is not what's in the results. That tweet was later deleted, but in a follow-up, Fisher says he's not going to say anything further until it's all released. Quote, trust me, Jennifer is lying. I'm always real suspicious of the person who's name-calling or trying really aggressively to have their voice heard, but both Coffindaffer and Nick Barris's reporting lack proper sourcing. So, who do we believe? No one. Wait, everyone is in agreement that the full autopsy is going to be released to the public either this week or next week. The family has also ordered a second autopsy, so it's quite likely we'll get some clear answers to questions like, was Riley Strain drugged, and did Riley Strain really just fall into the Cumberland River? We may never find out things like why he lost his pants and why his friends chose not to leave the bar with him. A lot of what's been on television has been fear-mongering, and Twitter's really no better. That sentiment is echoed by this person who says she's friends with Riley. quote, seeing these claims.
Yeah, this is also interesting. This is, so it says, because he doesn't read it out, by Addie B, it looks like. I mean, we don't, I've never seen her handle, so I don't know, but according to her, she says, this is false and disgusting that news channels willingly publish incorrect information without getting consent, correct information from the reliable resources. As some of you may know, I was friends with Riley. Seeing these claims about his toxicology and autopsy results and having to find out that they aren't even true is hurtful to me and so many others. I'm so thankful that people care so much about Riley, getting him home and getting his story out there for people to hear. So, pretty wild.
About his toxicology and autopsy results, and having to find out that they aren't even true is hurtful to me and so many others. Let's be real clear here. We don't know that they're not true, we just know that they're not verifiable. Through it all, Coffin Daffer is standing by her story. What's notable about all of this is not who reported.
So here's one other statement that's in, and so that was, I believe it's Taste of Country. Correct me if I'm wrong on that name. In the chat, I'm pretty sure that's his YouTube handle. I'm not sure how long he's been out there, but just a little bit of content I've seen. I do enjoy that guy. Definitely, if you get a chance, check his stuff out, especially regarding Riley. Okay, here it is. And this is where, this is kind of, I don't know if this is what got deleted, but an investigator hired by Riley Strain, family labeled autopsy toxicology reports disseminated last weekend as lies. Furthermore, Steve Fisher says when both are officially released, they'll report very different findings. So that is very interesting. I don't know if that's taken out of context or if that's verbatim of what he said. I haven't seen that specific tweet or statement by Steve Fisher, so I don't want to say that's what he exactly said. But if that is true, that is pretty wild. Makes me wonder if it's going to be something maybe in the middle where there is maybe some anomalies in the toxicology and or in the autopsy, and that's why the family's furiated, where it's like it's not just cut and dried. There are certain anomalies either in one or both of the reports that are enough to raise the red flags. Let me know what you think in chat, but this is very interesting. I mean, for them to come out like this and then back it up with receipts is really interesting. Wasn't there another person in the river that night? I could imagine him hearing someone cry for help and stripping off his boots and jeans to help, underestimating his own compromised state. Yeah, so we'll talk about the witness, because I think the witness, it's really strange. It makes me really suspicious that he's kind of recanted his story after all this time. Yeah, there were quite a few bodies found, not all in the river. And then, I know some people think of like the smiley face killer, kind of serial killer out there that could be involved in this. There's a lot of college male students, when it comes to walking out of a bar, ended up in a body of water, and then they're found either weeks, months later, and they're just under suspicious circumstances. And that's kind of like the MO around the smiley face killer, which is, if you haven't heard of them, I would definitely check out. There's many videos done on that. It's pretty wild. If there is an entity, which they believe, if it is true that there's not just one person, that there's like a bunch of them that work in certain states, I guess depending on whose theory you want to tap into, but it is disturbing. You have stuff going on in Texas with the was it Bird Lake, Bird Eagle, something like that, where a lot of people have been, college or males ended up in the lake over there. But yeah, let's look at this this story one more time by the you might find it. Okay.
Footage.
I seen the guy that went missing. He came down through here.
Fox 17 News speaking exclusively to a transient man who lives along the riverbank, right where Riley was last spotted on camera per police, near the James Robertson Parkway Bridge.
We heard a commotion. We looked back up. He almost fell over. The last bush right there caught him. He was very, very, very intoxicated, I guess. I mean, he was stumbling harder. I've never seen anybody stumble that hard before.
The man telling me he didn't check on Riley since someone else was already there.
I yelled up. They said, no, he's just drunk. He's okay.
The man, who asked not to be identified, says he reported the entire encounter to detectives. He says Riley continued in the same direction up First Avenue. But then Riley's trail stops. Other security footage just a block up the way doesn't appear to show Riley.
Reached out, staff.
Yeah, and now that guy has supposedly recanted his story, but a lot of his story lines up. I mean, this is kind of where he was last seen, the place that allegedly he flipped over if there was no foul play, would have been right here. And the fact that he says, just off to the right here, Riley stumbled into a bush, but yet there was another guy there, that I don't know if he knows or not, that was supposedly helping him, and then the original witness then just continued on. So was that if that was true, did something happen? Was he like mugged and then thrown into the river afterwards? Then there's the story of the phone where a homeless person allegedly found the phone the first day, couldn't unlock the phone, and then tossed it in the river, which that story makes no sense to me, because I would think, homeless or not, I mean, you find a nice iPhone, you would think that, hold on to it or return it, maybe, get a reward or something, who knows, but I don't see any, see why you would throw it in the river. That story just does not make sense. So you have his missing iPhone, you have his missing Apple Watch, his wallet, Michael Kors wallet, boots, pants, anything. What was it? Boxers, socks, and shirt is what all he had. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Lady Bird Lake. Okay, I said Eagle. My bad. Enlightened Fawn. Great report, Mob Crew. I don't think that Jennifer purposely lied, but stating what law enforcement stated. This case is suspicious to me. Continued prayers for strength for Riley's family. Well said, Vaughn. Yeah, I don't get into the politics. I know some people don't like her. Because she covers the Caleb Harris case, and she speaks with the family, and really the only updates coming from that case is from the live she does. So I do tune into her stuff just to see any updates, but my biggest question is, what is the toxicology? What is alcohol levels? And is there some kind of anomaly? I mean, there's got to be something where with Steve kept seeing this by the court TV, and then obviously showing that he has the actual report, which I'm trying to pull up right there. That's clear. He's got the report, and saying that this is not correct for what is being presented out there. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you think it'll be somewhere in the middle where there's maybe anomalies in the toxicology and or in the autopsy that don't just line up with an accidental drowning? He didn't have water in his lungs. Now, it's not impossible. Dr. Scott Morgan actually talks about this. I think I'll have to find it here in a second. But this is what they're basically claiming right now. This is between the two bridges that he disappeared. So let's see. No water in the lungs. No signs of drowning.
It still blows my mind that...
Oops. Oh, that comes up fast. Shirt, shoes, pants, wallet missing. Okay, yeah.
There is a... We are hoping... Not only is this...
Turn that down, but... I just can't see someone flipping over that. And even with 4 feet of the water, you know, being... The water being 4 feet higher, I would assume you can kind of see where it gets darker, probably where the shoreline kind of goes up and down. I can't imagine it being much more than this. I doubt he flipped and made it into the water. I mean, he had to have probably hit... Even if he hit the water, it's going to be pretty much what you see on the shore. So I'm pretty sure it's probably rocky... not a fun surface that you're going to fall 30 plus feet flipping over most likely if that was the scenario without breaking anything. I would think there's got to be some kind of trauma if that was the narrative. Dry drowning, yeah, it's not unheard of. Now, usually, according to Scott Morgan, the reason that there could be no water in the lungs is, he says, usually the person that ended up, the body that was found, before they went into the water, their head was basically compromised in some way, meaning it was blunt force trauma, or something to that effect, which I could see that lining up with the, you know, narrative that there was no foul play and like he flipped over, he landed on his head, knocked himself out. You'd think he'd break his neck from that fall if he landed on his head. Now, if he flipped over, just from experience, not flipping over from that kind of distance, but, you know, usually when you go head first, just the momentum will take you that you usually will kind of flip over. Not saying that's the case every time, but usually it's just kind of physics. If you're kind of going head first down a drop, and if your body gets twisted to a certain point, kind of, it's like physics, gravity does the work, and you kind of now flip. But who knows? Again, the only way that would make sense is the toxicology, the blood alcohol would be way up, nothing else in it, and then the autopsy, he's got some kind of neck injury, you know, broken collarbone, broken hip or something. I mean, I fell, let's see, 10 feet, maybe 10 to 12 feet. I fell. So imagine just a 10 to 12 foot swimming pool and swan diving into it with no water. That's kind of what happened to me. It wasn't intentional. I was skateboarding, but it was only just over 10 feet. Now I was kind of going fast, but again, it was only 10 feet, and I fell on concrete, which this is more or less the same kind of, you know, substance, and I broke my hip. And again, that was only like just 10 feet, maybe 10 to 12 feet, and I broke my hip. And so I would imagine if he fell, there would be some kind of bruised bones at the very least. I would think broken bones if he fell in. But if he doesn't have broken bones, I don't know how I can fathom that, unless he just like Supermaned it to where it wasn't shallow. But I can't see that happening either. Yeah, top heavy. Yeah, I mean, anybody that does flips, you know, like on the tramp, you know, when you get to a certain point, you know, it kind of, this physics and gravity kind of keep your momentum going. So that's why I could kind of see the credit card falling out of his shirt, but still, it just, I don't know. There's too much. And then with this recent debate between the Steve Fisher and Jennifer Cofferdaffer, that just really raises some red flags. Sensei, good to see you. Love the mob crew. Thank you, Chris, for all you do. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the amazing continued support as a member. Deborah, if he hit those rocks from that height, there would be signs of trauma. Exactly. I don't see any other way. You know, I know when people say like that when they're drunk, you know, they're more relaxed and they're less likely to break stuff, you know, that is certainly possible, but I still don't, from that drop, I can't see it. I can't see it, at least something broken. Terry says, I kind of caught Jennifer reporting some iffy stuff about the moms found in Oklahoma. Told her to contact one of the YouTuber the locals would accept. She didn't. Yeah, again, I don't get the politics of it, but I do understand. I've seen both sides to it for sure. Yeah, Coors wallets. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, Coors, I mean, when I think of Michael Kors, I think of watches. But it is a brand. But I think of Michael Kors watches. Now, I've never had one myself, but I know that they're very expensive. And then, you know, you have this another thing that still hasn't been explained is right around the time that he supposedly is going into this river, you have this random guy running, and, you know, unfortunately, you can't make anything out. You can't really, and here it is right here, and I apologize if you're on your phone. At slow motion, you can't really, like, brighten it up, but here he is, and could it just be a guy jogging? Certainly possible. But everybody else that passes, they're just walking by, you know, nonchalant. You got some people on, you know, mopeds and whatnot. But yeah, just around that time, you know, a few minutes after he's allegedly disappeared, you know, you have that guy running off. But you really can't make anything else out. Everyone says, I would think socks would come off easier than jeans. Yeah. I mean, jeans, especially if he had the belt, it's really hard to fathom that those came off. And there isn't any trauma. So the original autopsy report, that is what they said. No signs of trauma, although we didn't even get to see that report. Like, I don't think it's been actually fully released as far as, like, you know, did he have some lacerations at the very least? Because it looks, you know, it's not only just rocky, but, you know, it's kind of sharp. I mean, look at these rocks. I mean, this is what he would be falling onto if he fell over. We can see how kind of tall she is. This is where the drop is. Oops, I went back. Yeah, I mean, that's a big drop. And I don't know how far away from the wall to the actual water is. I mean, just eyeballing it looks like 20 to 30 feet. So I don't think there's no way he just Supermaned it into a non-shallow part of the water. I just can't see that happening either. Yeah, so yeah, not only is there damage to the head and dry drownings, but yes, your throat, it's kind of your throat will spasm. So not every drowning is technically you're going to have water in the lungs. There are people that, I don't know if it's just the body reacting and trying to keep water from going into the lungs, so it spasms. And so people end up they're just kind of suffocating to death. More or less. And yeah, that leads to dry drowning. So it's definitely not unheard of. According to Scott Morgan, he says usually you see that in more often they have some kind of head trauma to that. There was one more thing I wanted to play here. And then you have the Coke tasting like funny. The Coke tasting funny. Sorry. I was going to say tastes like barbecue.
And I go, well, that sounds awful. And he said,
accident, including hip holes, and clearly not himself.
Said that he had ordered he was drinking a rum and Coke and it didn't taste good. And I said, well, you probably shouldn't drink it then. He goes, well, it tastes like barbecue. And I go, well, that sounds awful. And he said, well, it sounds good, but it's not. And
do you think that could happen?
Now, from what I researched as far as like the date rape drugs, a lot of them are supposed to be like odorless and tasteless. I don't know if all of them are like that, but that's kind of like the common ones. Just a little research that I did on that. Nothing mentioned barbecue taste, but that is still kind of weird. Daisy Love, thank you so much for renewing your membership and supporting this channel. That is so awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's like a drunk driver who survives an accident without a scratch on him, body too relaxed. I don't know, just trying to understand. Yeah, I mean that is it's not unheard of. That has happened. Because yeah, you tense up, you're likely to get more damage, whereas if you're relaxed, I guess I mean, the way it sounds, I guess makes sense, but there are reports of people that has happened to. There must be a reason why the autopsy hasn't been made public. So I think what they wanted to do is they want the toxicology and the second private autopsy done, released at the same time. And I think that maybe this is why I think, you know, with the recent controversy between Cadaver, Core TV, and Steve Fisher, makes me wonder, and we'll go back to this statement here. So if you missed this earlier, Steve Fisher, who has shown receipts saying he has the toxicology report and claiming the people that have been talking about, you know, like Core TV and Jennifer, saying that this recent news is lies. Furthermore, Steve Fisher says when both, which I think is interesting, and if you actually kind of break this down, says when both are officially released, they'll report very different findings. So I wonder, I think that's why there's got to be some kind of middle ground between the both sides. That's where I'm leaning. That there is going to be something, and it has to be connecting both of them. I would think that would be my guess, but. I'm suspicious about the boots as the pants, depending on how the boots fit. Yeah, because they're cowboy. I mean, I've never wore cowboy boots, so I'm not sure. You know, I would think like higher boots. You know, higher like.
Him and another person.
All right, let me draw this down. Like some kind of high tops. You know, something that goes up higher. Is just going to be that much harder to come off your feet. I would think. Personally, I think he was mugged and maybe unconscious when he went into the water. I think that's a good possibility. Breck says there's a fence that runs past the bridge with an opening where his debit card was found, but they have him on a video beyond the opening from jail camera in an area that is fenced off. Yeah, we've looked at a lot of, I mean, because I put it all in chronological order. You know, this is supposedly the last footage, of course, with him walking past the officer. And then, of course, the next footage is the, trying to find it here. Is this footage, which is the birch tree footage, which is obviously like a quarter of the block down the road, just past the bridge. But they claim that there are other cameras that could have captured something, and the family is apparently still trying. I don't know if I got. Yeah, here it is. Right at the end. But these two ones, would be interesting if they could get these along with everything else. The birch tree video faces, I forget what direction. But the birch tree video faces going the opposite way of the two bridges. And then you have this camera here. And then
now they are
also
still
have
waiting on the toxicology report, which can take several weeks to.
This is actually a photo from the street surveillance. There's another camera that actually points back towards it, but it's much further away, so I don't know how much you would see. Still very frustrating for the family, but very curious to know what's going on, because, you know, just 2 days ago it seemed like, well, no signs of foul play, no drugs in the system, but others are screaming that is not the case. So I'd be curious to find out what where the truth lies. Something tells me it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I really feel like there's got to be at least some anomalies for them to say these are flat out lies. Emo Jim, good to see you, buddy. Hey, Chris, got to run for now. Here's a donation towards your search for Aiden Clune. Thank you so much. I also sent you some money through one of your Cash apps the other day. Good luck finding Aiden. Thank you so much, Emo. I do appreciate it. All your support, buddy. Take care. And then we have Connie with the $5 super sticker. Thank you guys, both of you guys, so much. It means the world when we try to put that support to use. Yeah, his body should have trauma on it, though. Yeah, let's look, before we finish up, let's just see if there's anything, because I haven't looked before I went live, and you never know if they release something. Let's see here. Looks like just what I saw before. Just kind of talking about the stuff going on behind the scenes with Steve and Jennifer and Court TV. So nothing that we know of. I'm sure Twitter would be on top of it. Nothing yet. So, but they're saying either this week or next week. So we're going to definitely keep an eye on that, because, man, with what Steve Fisher is claiming, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, because I'm sure maybe some of this stuff could be taken out of context, but it seems like he's getting excited, and there's good reason for him to be getting excited over something. I wouldn't say excited, but, frustrated with what was released. But I also don't like anybody that reports something and deletes it. That is suspicious too. I do agree with that, Terry. Sometimes I could see it as if maybe they got the emotions, their emotions got the better of them, and they felt like, especially if they're kind of representing the family or helping the family, that maybe a certain tweet is not tasteful. But I do agree, you know, you always have to kind of keep, yeah, I understand that. I was always wondering what type of barbecue, sweet, spicy, tangy, smoky. I always wondered which one. That is true. There are many. You know, I was never much of a drinker, but when I was 21, I think I drank for a year, maybe 2, and then I was like, oh, that was fun. No thanks. But I did love my rum and coke, and I don't recall barbecue days. Now maybe I know that there's like some whiskey or something that's like barbecue flavored or something. I don't know. Maybe they mixed up his drink wrong. But who knows? Yeah, that's one that gets brought up a bit. Is it possible Riley could have needed to urinate when he went over towards the bush and fell? And another thing I questioned, did the guy that said Riley was drunk see him fall or maybe pushed him? Yeah, so many questions. And then for him to recant his story, that just even adds more to the mystery to it all. I mean, why would you... I don't know, that just, to me, that seems fishy. Do the feet point forcefully with a spasm, and then the boots come off in the violent turbine of water? I don't know. The only thing I could think of, just looking at it on all sides of the coin here. Do I have footage of... Hold on. Let me pull up one other video. This is one thing, just like I said, got to look at it at all angles.
Live at the scene. Alexander, what are you seeing?
Yeah, here we go. I think this is... Yeah. So, his body was apparently... kind of got, like, apparently lodged under this... let me clear this real quick. His body kind of got lodged under this area here where there's a barge. This is the one thing I could maybe kind of... If there was... This is, like... no foul play scenario, is if a body went in, you know, the phone ended up in the water when he flipped. The Apple Watch is weird. I don't know. See, the Apple Watch, like, that's another thing we haven't really talked about. Now, kind of thinking about it, we haven't really talked about the Apple Watch. Like, how does an Apple Watch come off? Like how does that thing come off? Unless I've never owned an Apple Watch. I don't know if anybody can tell me. Can it come off easily? Is it Velcro? What do they use on Apple Watches? But anyway, before I get into that rant, the one thing I always wondered is if possibly when his body got stuck under that thing, his body and legs were pointing towards downstream. So when he was caught, you know, now he's caught, and then you've got this water flowing and pushing and would have took, you know, the pants and shoes or boots off. That would be about the only logical thing that I could think of as far as no foul play scenario and making sense of how those would come off. But let's see. Oh, Mother says Apple Watches can come off. Oh, okay. I've never had an Apple Watch because I was thinking like a watch, like how that, you know, like a normal watch. How the hell would that come off? But if it's like Velcro or something that's loosely fit, then I could understand that. Wait, was the watch on? I thought he didn't have the Apple Watch. I cover so many cases. I could be wrong on that. I know I have everything that he was found with and without. Was it? Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Maybe I'm ranting on about that night. Here we go. No, this isn't the one that has everything that he was missing. Yeah, let me know. Was the watch on? I can't remember that now. I know I have a thing that everything that he was missing and had on him. Somewhere in here. I don't see it. Huh, that's weird. I might have deleted it. So, that's an Apple Watch there. Oh, sorry. Let me back that out. But that's everything he had. Of course, the shirt, or excuse me, the boots, pants, wallet missing, phone missing. Had the shirt and I think boxers. Okay, so the Apple shirt. Okay, all right. I don't know why. I thought that was missing as well. Okay, my apologies. I would just even add more to the weirdness. June, good to see you. Did you see the Petito Laundry dock dump? I heard about it, and if I wasn't going out searching for Aiden, I would love to go through that, because, I mean, I built this channel on covering that case, and I know that there's a lot to go through. Feels like a lot of people got burnt out on that case. Not meaning that they don't, care about what happened, but, it just, there's so many other cases going on. But, yeah, it would be interesting to go through that. I have not, as a matter of fact, when I drive out, because it takes me 3 hours to drive out to Nevada, I'll probably listen to JB Buno from WFLA, because I know they did a live recently about that, so I can get caught up on what's going on. And then I know Madeline Soto, there's been some discovery, which I'll probably do a video on when I get back. Yeah, I appreciate you guys correcting me on that. It's tough when you cover so many cases. They sometimes they blend in. Yeah, he did, and he reminds me a lot like me because I was tall like him. He was a little bit taller than me, but kind of a tall. I mean, we appear skinny, but we still have a lot of weight on us. People don't kind of realize that, but it's just because we're so tall. I'm trying to find some of the footage. He's wandering around. This is probably all the water footage. But anyway, just seeing him wander around just kind of reminds me of me, just a stocky guy wandering around. And so we will definitely keep an eye on and do another live when they release that. It'll be interesting. Again, let me know if you guys haven't already what you think. Is there going to be anomalies in there? I think there's going to be something in the middle. I can't see Steve Fisher making, I don't want to say a scene, but, kind of saying that what they're claiming is lies. I don't think he would just come out and say that if there wasn't at least some kind of substance to the toxicology and autopsy, second autopsy. We should deep dive some scenarios for Riley. I mean, we've been doing that. Chocolate, I've been covering his case quite a bit on this channel, and we've kind of talked about some different scenarios. I mean, the two biggest ones is either he flipped over that bridge, and it was just sadly a college student that got too intoxicated, but where was his friends? I still hate how he was just left.
Final autopsy report is set to be released any day now.
Toxicology report
Anyway. But yeah, it's tough. Definitely boots when wet create a suction. It's not like create a suction. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying, but in my theory, I thought, if he did get caught up and the water is going against it, so it's pushing towards the pants or pushing down his pants, basically. His legs are going pointed downstream. And if his body was stuck, and if it was like the water was like, because, it was supposed to be rainy and kind of off and on, the water level is up and down. And apparently this river, when doing some research, it does kind of almost, if I recall, it almost like doubles in speed. I don't know if doubles, that might be a big word, but it does increase in speed, kind of dependent on precipitation, I guess. So again, I don't know. That could have been a play factor if it was a no foul play scenario, but I don't know. I'm sure we're gonna soon find out. So yeah. All right, so one last time, guys. I just want to thank everybody that's helped us with the Aiden Clune case. If you're not familiar, we've been going out and searching for missing 19-year-old Aiden Clune. I'm going back out tomorrow morning, so as soon as I get off, I'm literally heading to bed. We feel like we're really close. There's just a lot of areas to cover, but we are slowly but surely covering those areas, and kind of we've been basically doing grid searches this time around recently, which instead of just kind of going in and searching areas, random areas, we've now kind of honed in on a certain area that we believe is kind of the most likely scenario that he could be possibly in, and now we're in there kind of grid searching, not just kind of wandering in for a bit, kind of coming over and coming back, and not actually documenting what we've been doing. We have now been, for those that have seen it, we've been actually using certain material to let us know where we have searched prior. So that's why next time we come out, we know, hey, we need to move over this bit and then go so far and then come back. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing again. And so, yeah, we'll have a bunch of stuff for the members and Patreons again, as usual. And I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to tune in. Should hopefully be back live Friday. And if we do find anything, of course, I don't know if we'll be able to talk about it right away, but I certainly don't want to get ahead of myself. So, yeah, thank you guys all. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Jennifer, Jocelyn, Karen, D, Copper Horse, and I always forget somebody, and I hate it. Just going through here, just making sure I didn't miss anything. Again, thank you to the mods and Patreons. I just have to give a special thanks because that really helps the support. I do understand not everybody is financially, stable. I've been there so many times, paycheck to paycheck, so I totally understand. But you just being here, hitting the like button, watching the show means the world. So with that, I am going to head out and go to bed, get ready, and then we'll be back most likely Friday. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday and Thursday, and we will speak to you guys on Friday.